All right, I'm just gonna talk about the dynamic drop front squat exercise, and I'm just kind of spitballing this video, but I've talked about fast eccentrics in the past, where you're free falling during the eccentric portion of a movement, but also when you're like attempting to actively move fast throughout the eccentric portion of a movement. And one of the things I've gone on record to say regarding cleans and snatches is that they are one of the only exercises in which you can go from full or near full hip and knee extension into full hip and knee flexion. I do think that rapid change in position, especially in relation to an external load, is valuable. In my debate with Justin Lima a few weeks ago, he brought up this dynamic drop front squat as a way to replicate the catch portion of a clean. If you haven't seen the power clean discussion between John Evans and Dan Bach, I'd recommend checking that out. It's just under an hour long. It's on YouTube. They debate the use of the clean for jumping performance. Dan Bach also mentioned this idea of just dropping into a squat, but he brought it up as like a quarter squat and with the bar on your back, not on a front squat. But I don't think that really matters here for this discussion. So I just decided to play around with this exercise a few days ago, and here are my thoughts on it in no particular order. I was able to confidently perform this exercise with 390 pounds, which is just under 180 kilograms. And 180 kilograms is the weight that I could probably hit just on any given day for a clean, or 405. And my goal was to actually drop under the bar, to disconnect from the bar and reconnect to the bar, not to just perform the eccentric portion fast while maintaining the front rack. Now, obviously I did this because it more closely resembles the catch of a clean. This was a very stressful exercise. I have to just think that this is due to disconnecting from the bar, so the bar is actually moving a greater distance on the descent from its peak height compared to when I clean. This definitely adds to the potency of the stimulus. Upon rewatching some of these clips, the bar begins to reconnect to my body higher than I initially thought when I was performing the exercise. And assuming I did this exercise more frequently, I probably could hit 405 for 2 to 3 sets of singles. Like I mentioned, that's probably the weight that I could hit like on any given day for a clean. From an absolute load standpoint, I think the dynamic front squat and a clean are pretty comparable. Now, regarding speed of my center of mass, the drop in a clean is significantly faster compared to the front squat drop. Because when you drop into a clean, you're using the bar to your advantage to move around it by pulling yourself into the squat. So I would say it's faster center of mass movement in a clean, but probably a little bit higher collision forces in the front squat drop. Like I said, absolute loads are probably equal. The clean also involves the limbs of the upper body to move more quickly about the shoulder, whereas the shoulders don't move in the front squat drop. There's just less going on in the front squat drop. Now, would I ever program this? Now, I'm a much more experienced lifter than most people, especially clients of mine, athletes of mine. And I think that's why I was able to go as heavy as I did. Really don't think most people could perform this exercise as heavy as they could clean. I think my backgrounds with cleans is why I was able to go so heavy. Having the awareness to relocate your center of mass in the bar to coordinate catching it in a front rack is something cleans have provided for a long time. But I would also have to assume that if someone never cleaned and they performed this exercise of front squatting, they could reach a level of proficiency in using heavy weight and catching the weight safely too. There's just no reason not to think that. We'll say that this exercise provides a little bit different stress and maybe more potent stress compared to a clean for the catch aspect, but that's mostly due to the collision. But it doesn't provide as much of the other aspects that a clean provides, such as all of the preceding actions prior to the catch. I'm not opposed to someone performing this exercise or programming this exercise for some of their athletes. I think it's probably a better way to frame it as just another front squat variation as opposed to replacing the clean. Like I've said many times before, you can't just like replicate all of these different aspects that a clean provides with different exercises. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. Those are my overall thoughts. Maybe I'll play around with it a little bit more in the future, who knows, but that's all I got for the video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.